It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, both at home and also in diaspora. I hope you all are doing well today. I'm super delighted to welcome you to another insightful and educative section of Property Matters here on YouTube. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, my name is Adejare. I'm your host here on Property Matters, and Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we expose you to all the fundamentals and all the information that you need to know before venturing into any form of real estate investment in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. I am Adejare once more. Property Matters comes your way twice every week, and like I said, we examine the nitty-gritty, the fundamentals, the core, and of course, all the information that you need before you go ahead with any form of real estate investment in the beautiful city of Lagos, Nigeria. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, we need your support. We need your participation, and one of the way you can help us reach more people, one of the way you can help us reach more views is to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, you will be among the very first important personality that will be seeing it. Of course, so after watching this particular guide, you can of course at your leisure time watch other playlists. We have over 163 videos addressing different aspects of real estate investment. So Property Matters got you covered. Now you want to do any form of real estate investment and there are some pertinent questions that have not been adequately answered, not to worry. At your leisure time, just check all of our playlists or some of our playlists. We have different videos addressing different aspects of real estate investment. It's worth a while. Once again, do well to subscribe, encourage your friends and family to do so, and I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. Remember, stay tuned, get yourself a cold cup of wine, and of course, I'll be back after this short timeout. My smart investors, I'm super delighted to welcome you to another beautiful investment opportunity here in the heart of Lekki Expressway precisely. And this property is just 5 minutes proximity to the proposed international airport and of course facing the Lekki Expressway. Now the wonderful thing about this project basically is that it has a C of O. It is available in 500 square meter and 300 square meter. This property is the best. Look at the flowers, look at the beautiful design, look at this. Now you don't want to miss out on having your own plot of land here. Your residential building will obviously be fantastic. Your short-let apartment will obviously come good. So for more information about this property, phase 3, how you can have your residential plot of land in acres, of course you're free to contact the number below the description. Remember, 300 square meters, 500 square meters. 500 square meters is 26 million naira. It has a certificate of occupancy, and we have 3 months, 30 days, and 1 year payment plan. For more information, give us a call. Have a nice day. All right. I'm super delighted to be on your screen today. Thank you very much for those who have supported us. Thank you very much. Of course, I want to quickly start this episode by appreciating our smart, beautiful, lovely, handsome real estate investors who have patronized us. For people who have bought property through CLISS cost property, I want to quickly seize the opportunity to thank you. I appreciate your support. Thank you for keeping us going. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the referrals. We look forward to more. And for those who are wondering what exactly is this man talking about, we also help smart real estate investors like you secure affordable, safe, and of course profitable and strategic real estate investment in different parts of Lagos. So in case you want to know more about real estate investment, we're going to be doing some series talking about investment, the kind of investment, the importance of location in some of our stuff. So this is why you really have to subscribe to this channel, because we see, trust me, we have powerful packed topics that will come in your way. So a very important personality like you should not miss some of these topics. So do well to subscribe, and you will be glad you did. So today I'm going to be talking about how to value properties. I'm going to be talking about some of the indices that you can use to corroborate the price a real estate developer is giving you or the agent is giving you. Today I'm going to be talking about property valuation. Today you will understand whether a property is undervalued or whether a property is overpriced. And some of the things we shall be discussing today are some of the things that many of us may be familiar with, or many of us may not have the accurate valuation expertise. And today I'm going to be talking about how to value properties. And what do you need to know about property valuation is that when you understand the way the real estate market works, now one of the things most real estate investors don't understand is that the principle of demand and supply also affect property valuation as well as the demand for such property. What do I mean by that? If you want to buy a property, you need to understand that there are several indices that determines the prices. Like for instance, there are places in Lekki Phase 1 that is prone to heavy flooding, and many investors would have thought about that. Okay, fine, for the part that this place is prone to flooding, and at the moment it seems that every precautionary measures to avoid and of course to reduce the continuous flooding has proved abortive. So to some real estate investors, properties within this region should be selling at a very, very cheap price. Many people believe that the flooding matter should affect the demand for properties within this region, and I've spoken with a lot of real estate investors who feel that of course the flood should be an advantage, but you see, most times the reverse has always been the case. So sometimes natural disaster sometimes determine the demand, but it doesn't affect the valuation of properties. So how do you want to know? So what are those things you need to look out for when you want to value a property? How can you tell if you are being cheated? How can you tell if you have been priced out for the property? The very first thing you need to understand is that one of the very important factors that affect property valuation in Lagos, Nigeria is location. You need to understand that location plays a very vital and essential role in valuing the price of a property. There are instances whereby a lot of people have missed it and a lot of people have been priced out because they don't understand that locations play an important role. So how does location play an important role? For instance, for most of the people that are residing in the likes of Magodo, Ikeja GRA, Lekki Phase 1, Ikoyi, Banana Island, and of course other places of Ajah, Shongotedo, and other places of the island, you will understand that when people are valuing properties, how location play an important role is that location determines the demand for properties within this axis. Now, in a situation whereby a demand for those property goes above 40-56%, then you can be rest assured that that place is a booming market for real estate investment. That's why it is very possible that when you go to Banana Island, you will get 2-bedroom apartments for sometimes 120 million, sometimes 80 million, depending on the developer and depending on the particular location. Now, how does location pay attention to that? Location pay attention to property valuation because of the caliber of people. When you look at the caliber of people that reside at Ikeja GRA, the caliber of people that reside at Magodo, the caliber of people that reside at Ikoyi, Victoria Island, Lekki Phase 1, Admiralty, Ajah, and the likes, the caliber of people of those places determine the prices at which properties are being sold. And I've said it several times that when you are valuing properties within this axis, the intention of construction of building within this axis is not to serve the general market. In places like Banana Island, in places like Ikeja GRA, in places like the inner part of Maryland, Magodo, Lekki Phase 1, and the likes, real estate developers build or sell properties to the 1% of the 1%. Now, the 1% of the 1% I'm talking about, the 1% of not just all millionaires, the 1% of the billionaires. And when you understand that billionaires pay attention to serenity, they pay attention to security, they pay attention to infrastructures, they pay attention to cinemas, they pay attention to bank, they pay attention to facilities that will make life very, very comfortable. And that is why you find out that lands within this axis are selling for 300 million, 400 million. I was in a conversation with a dear real estate investor, and the man asked me a question. 300 million, oh god damn it, are people buying properties there? I said yes. In fact, I've seen instances. I recently met an investor who went to the bank to secure a loan to buy just 350 square meter of land at Lekki Phase 1. Guess how much he bought it? He bought that property for almost 100 million. And you're wondering, that money is a lot of money. So that means I can take that money. I've seen it times where investors will tell you, I can take that money and go and buy several acres of land in a pair. Yeah, that is your own perfection. So in most cases, the caliber of people sometimes staying in that place determine the prices. And the reason why most of those places are not always affordable is that they are trying to, prevent a scenario where every Tom, Dick, and Harry comes to an area and they start polluting the area and they start making lives very, very miserable. So in most cases, the reason why those places are not affordable for all is because in most cases, the caliber of the billionaires, the politicians, the high net worth individuals stay in that region always insist that one of the ways they can preserve the value, the security, the serenity, and of course to increase their business, advantages and opportunities with that, is to keep the prices of properties so that people will not come there and pollute the area. So location plays a very important, and that's why you notice that buildings and lands are sold in billions. So you need to understand. So as a real estate investor, you need to understand the role of location. Then the next thing that can help you value a property, for you to know if the place is hyped or overpriced, at the title. Of course, oftentimes I've talked about the importance of title in real estate. I've talked about that. So, but I'm going deep, but you need to understand that at the moment right now, titled lands in Lekki Phase 1, there's one presently selling for 75 million, which is very close to the Admiralty Axis, just 500 square meter, and there are some other places selling. So the prices is determined by the title. At the moment, a C-level land in Adejare right now is above 60 million. At the moment, a C-level land right now within the Chevron axis is above 100, 150, 200 million. When you're going to Lekki Phase 1, you're looking at 500, 600 million. If you're going to Banana Island, just prepare 800, 600, 1 billion. Ikeja axis, more importantly, the Ajao and the National Airport axis, you're looking at about 300 or 400 million. Now, why are those properties selling that? Is because of the title. Most of these properties have COVs, they have governor's consent. So in most cases, when you're buying, the process of perfection is very easy. So when a title has been done, you need to understand that these are some of the reasons why the prices of properties are valued. Now, does that mean that there are other places in this region that properties are not selling very cheap? Instances in a scale of 1 to 10, I've seen 1 or 2 people advertising, but the authenticity of what they're selling is what I cannot guarantee. Now, the next thing you also need to understand is the cost of infrastructure. So one of the things you can use to value a property, if a developer is trying to overprice you, or if a company is trying to siphon you, or a property is undervalued, at the infrastructure. I gave a scenario of the Koyi axis, the Kejajare, the Magodo axis, and the likes. And I gave instances. When you look at those places, you find out that most places are serene. They are very serene. You will find out that your house is very close to banks, to malls. In most cases, there are places whereby the developer may say, okay, if I don't want my tenant or my investors to stress. I've seen instances whereby a particular estate have banks, they have malls, they have bars, they have clubs out, they have swimming pool, they have everything within that. So it's more or less like making those places very, very comfortable. When you look at properties where we have high net worth individuals, what those people focus on basically is the comfort of their investor. Yes, the focus is on, and that's why sometimes the infrastructures within this axis are always top notch. The infrastructures within this axis are always of high class, and that's why you understand that these people sometimes can even stay in the house without going out. And sometimes you're wondering, are the people staying there? And why do you think that even at the moment right now, most of the expatriates that are presently working at the refinery, at the futures and other parts of Lagos, despite the fact that they are working in Ibejuleki, many of them still stays at Lekki Phase 1, many of them still stays at Abijo Axis. Why exactly are they leaving lands presently at Ibejuleki and they're going that far? It's because of this infrastructure. So if a developer is not putting on quality infrastructure, if the building material is poor, for instance, you need to understand, as a real estate investor, it is very important that you also have a knowledge of the cost of building material. At the moment right now, a bag of cement is selling above 4,500, 5,000 in other places. You need to have of course, I as a real estate practitioner, I know how much you pay for trucks of sand. I know how much sand filling is done. I know how much I have an idea, a rough estimate of the cost of a foundation. In fact, to the fact that presently I'm working on how the present cost of building materials, even the present cost of running C of O's. I have an idea. I know I have ideas of how some of the documents you have to present when you're obtaining a building approval, the payment for all these things. I have an idea. So, and the reason why I have some of these ideas is because of the fact that I want to avoid the scenario whereby people overprice you because you don't have them. So the infrastructures, the accessibility to banks, the accessibilities to malls, the accessibilities to cinemas, the accessibility to infrastructure. In fact, in most cases, even places where they are closest to the beaches, when you look at the likes of Ekate, the Legushi, these places are always in high demand, and the quality of infrastructures is what determines the valuation. The quality of infrastructure. As a real estate investor, don't just buy because they ask you to buy. You need to have a basic idea of the infrastructure. Then you also need to understand that if this infrastructure are poorly done, you also need to understand that it can also affect the value location. So these are some of the things that you want to know. So I've talked about as an investor why you need to know the cost of building materials, how you have an idea of what it takes, what trucks charge for cement, what workers charge on a daily basis. Some people say it's the work of the artisan on your building engineer, your civil engineer working on site. Yes, sometimes if you don't understand how this thing works in Lagos, Nigeria, you will pay more than what you're. For instance, I know that a truck of sharp sand as of 3 months ago sold for 60,000 per for one. Because I know that. And you also need to understand that what also can determine if a property is valued correctly or overpriced are the cost of the structure on it. As a real estate investor, the reason why we come online every day to explain some of this thing is because of the fact that I personally have been duped. I personally have overpaid for services simply because of the fact that I don't have an idea of the costing. When you see us go outside, spend money investigating, going to sites, speaking with engineers. In fact, there have been instances whereby when you speak with this engineer, because of the fact that some of them suspect that it's like this guy want to pop nose, in our affairs. He wants to know how these things are going. Sometimes some people give us wrong estimation. So what we do basically is that we go as far as speaking as many as possible. The beautiful thing is that I also make friends with some of my friends. I don't want to start mentioning their names, who are civil engineer, professional architects, so they give us an, so we know what the valuation is. So you need to know now. So the type of structure you construct also determine if a place is valued or overpriced. What do I mean by that? How much does it take to construct a bungalow? What kind of foundation do you need to construct a bungalow? What about in a case whereby after constructing the bungalow, there's a need to do a supporting pile foundation? What kind of foundation do I need to construct a duplex? What kind of foundation do I need, to construct an apartment? What kind of foundation do I need to construct terraces? And sometimes what also determines the value of the duplexes, your bungalows, and your apartments is the soil texture and the soil test report. It is quite unfortunate that a whole lot of people don't follow the laid down protocols when it comes to construction. And sometimes when real estate investors are making inquiries, many of them don't understand that most of these builders, most of these valuers, they try to capitalize on your ignorance. So you need to understand that, okay, fine, if I must construct a bungalow, what are the nitty-gritties? What exactly is the soil test saying? They've been trying past whereby bungalows are being erected for sometimes 15, 10. Of course, you know that there's a little bit of inflation in the Nigerian market. Now, let's look at the most important things that real estate companies put into consideration when they are fixing prices. Okay, now when you understand this, I'm going to be as simple, as plain as I can, and as I can, pardon me, then you will now use my own explanation to determine if you have been overpriced or the property you have bought is undervalued. Now, one of the things that determine the value, for instance, in a place where they're erecting whether apartments, duplexes, or bungalow, one of the factors that developers use to value the land is the cost of the land. Now, when we talk about costs, many people don't understand that in the places where the land is bushy, the developer will factor the cost of clearing. In the places whereby the land is waterlogged, the developer will also factor the cost of sand filling. And when it comes to sand filling, there are different levels and stages of sand filling. There's a place whereby a developer sand fill a particular an estate to pave entrance. I've seen instances whereby there are no access road. So in most cases, the developer, okay, will factor, okay, the cost of road creation, sand filling. Then the next thing you want to understand is that the developer also want to factor the cost of construction. Now, when you are sand filling, when the land is being cleared, is a different scenario before construction comes into place. And you also want to know that before the developer factor the cost of construction, they base their cost based on the soil test that has been given to them when it was done on the property. Then so the developer want to also factor the cost of the building. Now, when we talk about building, most people don't understand that there are different typologies of building and each building has its own specific cost. Now, it now determines the kind of interiors, the kind of foundation, the kind of finishing. That one is another case for another day. Then developer also want to factor the cost of documentation. Today now, the cost of survey in Ministry of Lands Bureau in Alausa right now is not the same even as at 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So you need to also want to understand that the cost of documentation also matters. Now, how do you now value whether a developer is trying to overprice and they are trying to underprice you? For instance, over time I've worked with real estate surveyors, I've worked with developers, I've worked with people who build. So when a developer wants to sell a particular property for a price, I know if you have been overvalued or if you have been overpriced or the property is undervalued. You need to understand that. For instance, the survey in places like Epe and Ibejuleki varies. Why? Because of different factors that time will not, afford me to explain. So in Epe, a property is selling for 10 million. A property is selling for 15 million. And they don't have a title. Are they overpriced? Now, what is your own basis for valuation? We need to also examine that. I've seen instances whereby in Epe right now, they are buy and build locations. In Epe right now, they are land banking locations. And to even make the story more interesting, basically right now is that when you look at that same Epe, because of the activities of real estate developer presently, the cost of rent in Epe has increased. Like for instance, as at 2011, 2012, the rents for a one-bedroom apartment as at 2011 to 2012, 2014 was around 30,000. Now, in some places right now, okay, is 100,000. In some places, 70,000. Now, like I said, the market is not regulated. But people faced or place value on properties based on some factors. Number one, the activities of real estate developers in Ekpe have helped to drastically improved and increased the value of property, and that is why a lot of people are running to Ekpe. You need to understand that. So the activities of company right now have increased the value of properties. However, there are instances when you want to understand if a property is overpriced. Number one, look at the location. In locations like Igbola, in locations like Odoegiri, in locations like the Iloti, that's the Epe-Ijebu, the axis, in locations like the Ishiwo, in locations like the Mojoda, in locations like the Ketu Epe, you will agree with me that the rate at which properties increase in those areas is alarming. And of course, like I said, it's due to the activities of real estate developer. Developers right now are trooping in mass buying properties, to the point that there was a place my car got stuck while I was doing my tour, and 2 days after, I got a call that another real estate developer mounted the signboard and they started estates there. So what makes Ekpe property value to skyrocket? Number one, the proposed international airport. It has not started, but it's sharing close proximity to places like Temu, to places like Boka, to places like Ilara, to places like Iragushi, to places like the Araga, and of course, some places in what's the name of where this Dukia Africa is? Shalamola Joy. Now, because of the activities of the international airports right now, they know that these places I've mentioned, we enjoy the spillover. Automatically, the prices of property have skyrocketed. You need to understand that. Also, at the moment right now, there is an alternative road from that Lekki Ekpe Expressway to the refinery. Now, the consequences of this is that people from Ekpe right now, once they open the road is not open yet, it's still under construction. But the good news for the people of Ekpe is that they don't need to get to Eleko before they can access Ibeju. That means as you're coming down from that Ekpe junction, as you're driving down, there's an alternative route that takes you. So people who are doing businesses in the refinery, the free trade zone, that's an alternative route. That road also opened Ekpe for what? High price valuation. So that means people working at the refinery, people working at the free trade zone can now use Ekpe as an alternative accommodation for themselves. This is, now that is all, that is part. Now the activities of institutions like Jabatech Ekpe campus, Augustine University, Augustine University is a private university, but Augustine University also plays an important role in Ekpe properties. You need to understand this. The Ekpe Resort and Spa. Now the question is, were these facilities not there before? Of course they've been there. The Augustine University has been there for years. The Yabatech Ekpe campus has been there. The Lagos State University Ekpe campus has been there. But the rate at which real estate company emphasized the importance of these facilities also made the prices of property to increase. So these are the indices that developer uses, okay, to do what? To value properties. When you understand that these indices are the key factors that real estate companies now use to value properties, then you will now be left for you to now decide, now what should you now do? Now it will not be wise for you to say, because of the fact that Ekpe is overvalued, you should not buy. It's going to get to a point that the available lands in Ekpe will not be able to serve people, and this is why you need to start investing. You can contact us. We still have affordable properties in Ekpe, okay, that you can invest. So these are what is that we use in Lagos State real estate market to determine prices, to value if a property is undervalued or overpriced. So this is where I'm going to draw today's cutting of property matter. It's a lengthy one, but I believe you found value. So for more information, of course, you can give us a call Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing. See you at the top. God bless you. See you in my next video. Bye and have a nice day.